Hey guys. All right, hey everyone. It's Anna Brooks here. How you doing? So, I hadn't really actually fully decided what this live stream was going to be about. I kind of put the title in because it was just what came up. I've just come from my kinesiology appointment, and it was kind of just what came up for me, but I actually sat here for quite a few minutes before I went live and just kind of kept fiddling with the title because I wasn't really sure what the message to get out today was, to be honest. I just knew that there was something, right? So I put the title in and then I went ahead and pressed live, and here I am. I think it was a little bit, though, of what I wanted to talk about was about this idea of surrendering, but also of not really realizing how much of a difference, how much of a change you're making in your life until a little further down the track, right? So something that I spoke about, I think yesterday in one of my blog posts, was that basically I've gotten into such a habit of focusing on what I want, focusing on the positive, focusing on appreciation and gratitude for the things that I love, the things that I want more of, and being really conscious to basically not give attention and power and my focus to the things that annoy me, to the point that I struggle to actually remember things that have annoyed me recently because I'm so quick to pick myself up on it and just move on, just upwards and onwards, right? It's just not in my realm of perception, I guess, anymore. So it actually took me quite a while to come up with something when I wanted to think about, well, what is actually something that, has annoyed me recently? What's some negative, something that's happened in my life? And when I thought about it, I could come up with stuff. It's not like I'm, magical and nothing ever happens to annoy me. But it's no longer something that I really acknowledge or really focus on. And therefore I move on from it so quickly that it's almost like it didn't happen, right? Because my focus isn't on it. And so what this kind of, I don't know if this, I haven't actually worked out if this relates to the title about what does it mean to surrender. But it does mean that what you focus on is what you get more of, right? So when it comes to thinking about what good things have happened recently, what positives there are, right, I very quickly can come up with just mountains of things, mountains of different interactions that I've had, or just random events, or just life, right? It's pretty good, and I can come up with that stuff really quickly. So, and it's just a focus kind of thing. So today in my kinesiology appointment, a lot of stuff came up around surrender, right? And around this idea that I'm trying to shift a lot of my focus about things and just trust, basically, that I am taken care of, that the universe is looking out for me, that I'm always going to be taken care of, and also with those around me and everything, because there's quite a lot of deep-seated childhood type stuff about, and not even just childhood, but also adulthood, with some relationships that I went through where I felt very much like I can't rely on anyone, right? That I'm always there when someone needs me, but when I needed them there, they weren't there. And so this developed into a sort of a fear, I guess, of that surrender, because it's like, well, I can't rely on anyone else. I can rely on myself because I know I can hold myself accountable to something, and I'll do it and I'll follow through with it. But people have let me down in the past, so maybe I can't surrender to others. And so this is kind of the work that we did today in my kinesiology appointment, which was it was fascinating. It was actually quite full on, my body was very much giving a lot of feedback in a lot of different areas, and it was going in circles a lot. No, not circles. It was very, what was the word she used? She said it's very specific today. It knows exactly what it wants and it's asking for it, which is fantastic. But I guess to me, because it's all subconscious and unconscious stuff, I didn't really understand what the hell my body was talking about a lot of the time. And so that was kind of part of it, is that when I came home, I just had this feeling like, all right, well, I think I just need to get on the live stream and just sort of talk for a moment about this and about the idea of, shifting your focus into the area where things that used to even bother you or exist to you no longer exist or bother you. And it's just a question of focus, right? And like I said, I wasn't sure how this was going to relate back to the surrender thing. But truthfully, it's because I think when something negative, when something that vibrationally feels off and frustrates me or annoys me or whatever it is happens, or an interaction happens or whatever, I'm very good now at surrendering to it, seeing it for what it is, and allowing myself the freedom to just move on from it, not having to feel like, okay, I need to sort out every single problem at every single moment, that every single issue that comes up is something that needs my attention and my focus right now, because it just doesn't. It just doesn't. The stuff that you don't want in your life doesn't need your attention or your focus. It's the opposite. The stuff that you want in your life, the things that you want to attract more of, is the stuff that actually needs your focus. So as much as I'm not saying, this isn't one of those run away from your problems and hide from your problems type of situations at all. It's not that. It's just very much that it's an ability to just surrender to what's happened and just go, well, all right, I trust and I surrender that the universe is going to look after this. It's going to sort this out for me. It's going to work itself out, because really, what's the worst that can happen, right? And usually whatever the worst is that can happen is nowhere near as bad as we think it is. We just tend to talk these things up in our own heads, right? So when you kind of think of it in that way, you go, all right, well, I can just surrender. I can just say, well, look, you know what? Shit happens. This has happened. This is not ideal. I'm going to have to, work a way around this or whatever it is, but it's going to be fine. I'm taken care of. The universe has got me. This will be fine. I need to go focus on the stuff that I do want, right? Because as you know, where focus goes, where your thoughts go, is what you create. So the more you stay in that state of frustration, of annoyance, of negativity, basically that sort of vibrational state, that is what you're going to attract more of. And I know that you've done this before, and I know that we've all done this before, including myself. I still do it now. When I don't catch myself quickly enough, where you have one crappy thing come up, and then before you know it, everything crappy has come up. You've just kind of attracted it into your vibrational field, and you've just gone the hack and just gone, yeah, cool, all right, give me more of it. This is shit. How much worse can it get? That's the best question. Oh, that's such a good question to ask yourself. Sarcasm, in case you didn't pick it up. That's such a good question to ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? How much worse can this get? That's a really good one to ask, because that's a really great way to attract any other shit that could possibly be floating around straight to you, like a radar. It's fantastic. And I've done this so many times before until I've eventually had to almost bang my head against a wall to make myself stop and reset and turn the other way around and pick the direction I want to go in. And that's the problem, is people don't realize that they've usually chosen a direction. Not choosing a direction is choosing a direction, by the way. Floating through life is choosing a direction. It's choosing that you are basically at the whim of whatever happens. So if shit stuff's happening, you get more shit. If good stuff's happening, you'll get a bit of good stuff, right? But if you're not controlling the direction of your life, well, then life's controlling that direction, and it'll go wherever the fuck it feels like. And when it goes shit, you're not going to understand why, and so you're going to probably create more shit, and then you're going to focus on that shit, and it's just going to compound, right? So when these things happen, just surrender, just accept that, you know what, this is what it is. It will sort itself out in time, or maybe it's not even something that needs sorting out. If it's just, you know, a minor annoyance, minor occurrence that's happened and it's just like, ugh, that was crap. Fine. Yep. Cool. Moving on. Straight to the next thing, right? And just surrender and just let it go. And as soon as you get in the habit of that and you shift that focus over to where you want to go, not where you want to get out of, basically, it just gets a hell of a lot easier, right? So I know I'm a little bit probably all over the place on this one. Like I said, I didn't know what this live stream was going to be about when I started it. I just had a feeling that something was going to come out, so I decided to jump on. And take from that as you will, right? So, the other thing as well, if you've watched any of my live streams in the past, you'll notice I'm usually very, very high energy, very high vibing, that kind of thing. And that's very normal for me. The only reason I'm like this, I think, is because I've just come out of the kinesiology session. I'm very contemplative. I'm still processing things in my mind and talking. I'm a very auditory type learner. So talking and speaking is a really great way for me to process things. And it's also a really great way for me to communicate my message because it comes out really just basically flow-based for me this way. As much as my writing is as well, it's usually when I'm speaking with people that I feel that real connection. So I'd love for you to let me know what your thoughts are about today's live stream, what you got out of it. That would actually be really interesting to know what you got out of this and what came up for you, because I think it's going to be a very open-ended one. So I'd really love to know what kind of stuff came up for you and what kind of takeaways you got from it, because I think everyone's going to see it a little bit differently, which is kind of cool. Yeah? All right, I will leave it there and I'll see you guys later.